Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Inside Lines podcast. I'm your host, Atoya Burleson.
And I am Tia Averill.
Coming up a bit later in the show, we'll be chatting with lawyer and real estate investor Sheree Olaiya. We'll also be getting into our hot take on life in 2023. But first, Tia, it's been a crazy week.
Listen, understatement. This weekend, I traveled to Indianapolis to do a baby shower for my youngest sister. Mm-hmm. She is the last of the Mohicans. She's pregnant with her second child. She's having a baby boy. And it was a nice surprise because her child's father proposed to her. So it was a whole little situation. Yeah. I was
Did she cry? Was she completely shocked?
She was shocked. And there was this whole thing because... So my mom has 4 kids and adopted one, and then she has 2 siblings on her dad's side. Okay. And so for her, she was like, oh, the first and only time all 5 of us or all 6 of us have been together was her dad's funeral. Okay. And so she was like super excited that everybody can make it to the shower and stuff. And so he knew how important that was to her. So he was like, I want to, I plan on spending the rest of my life with her. So this is the time. So it was good.
That's awesome.
So congratulations, Bianca and Malcolm.
Yes, big time. That's special. Yeah. What a special, it's already special enough that you're bringing another miracle in the world, but also everyone's there when he proposed, which is even more special. So I love that.
It was good.
I love.
Look, and I'll tell you, so of course I went back home to Indianapolis where I grew up, and you know how this is, and I'm interested in seeing how you play this when we go back to Scottsdale for Super Bowl. But when you go home and you have so many different people that you hadn't seen in a while, It is exhausting trying to figure out how to get a little bit of time with everybody, people you ain't seen.
I know. I used to stress out about that because for me, typically when we went on vacation, we love to go back to Arizona. It's just warm. The weather is very consistent. We always had a good time. But to your point of always having your family and friends there, it does become exhausting because you're not really relaxing and enjoying your vacation.
Exactly.
So I started implementing this rule where people would have, I'm like, this is where I'm going to be at this time for dinner. Y'all all meet me here because this is the only time I have. And I just left it at that because I wanted to still enjoy myself. I wanted to see everyone too, but I cannot be moving around left, right, going here, turning around.
All around the city.
Y'all all meet me here. We can all kiki together. So that's kind of what I started doing. It really helped me out because I feel you. It's hard. It's hard.
Girl, exhausting.
So what you're saying is, you're saying you need a vacation from the vacation.
Look, I wouldn't have even considered that a vacation, but I need a vacation from that trip because it is a little bit of a break because you're away from your kids and your daily responsibilities.
Yes, Lord.
Deep little break. Look, but how was your weekend, Atoya? I seen y'all had a lot of basketball.
We had a lot of basketball. The whole week we had games Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, just nonstop, and it's a lot. It is a lot.
Listen, and your boy's been balling.
I know. Everybody keeps hitting me up Nate, sure he want to play football? He might want to go to basketball route, but he's sticking to football, y'all. He loves football. So I just let it be. I've asked him a few times and he hasn't changed his mind. So unless he has,
how did he pick between the two?
He really likes both, but I think for him with football, football is a position skill, right? So you're typically either on offense or you're on defense. And he's on offense. He's a receiver. And he likes the part of, he loves playing offense. He loves being a part of the offense and scoring touchdowns. But he's also a rah-rah teammate. So when he's on the sideline, he's not just sitting there on the bench drinking water. He's cheering on the defense. And he likes that break. So it's a little mental break from playing offensively. You get to cheer on the defense and be a part of what's going on there. Whereas basketball, you're on all the time. You have to be on an offense. You have to play defense. You have to pay attention to what the coach is calling. You have to pay attention to, if you can anticipate a ball and steal it. It's just very intense all the time. And I think that for some people, they don't really want to deal with that all the time. They're like, I'm good. like that's the beauty of playing multiple sports, because you do have the freedom and flexibility to choose because you've experienced it. And so I've never pushed my kids either way. But Nate's like, I'm playing football. He's like, I want to score touchdowns. And he's like, and I love being a part of like a team and just having a moment, you know what I'm saying, with everybody. So he loves that balance.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. Whereas Nehemiah, he's been football all the way. He only plays basketball because of his brother, period. That's it. He's like,
do you think he'll play next year?
I don't know. I feel like because it's his senior year, it's going to go one or two ways. Either he's going to finish football and be like, I need a break. Or he's going to finish football and be like, okay, I had a little bit of a break. Maybe I'll go out with the bang with basketball too. So I don't really know. I'm going to leave it up to him to decide, because I mean, his brother's not going to be out there. So if he don't want to play, I completely understand. He'd be like, Mom, I told you.
Just ain't what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So, all right, enough about that, y'all. Let's get into this week's hot take. All right, it's time for this week's hot take. Tia, what we got?
Okay, so this week we are talking all things football.
Okay.
First, let's let the people know we have our Super Bowl show coming up, which we teased y'all a little bit. We teased y'all a little bit about it. But y'all, we are so excited about this show.
We have been hard at work working on this way before y'all even knew. Like by the time we started Inside Line season 4, we was working on Super Bowl. That's how much work goes into this. So we're really excited to announce we're having our live Super Bowl show at Neiman Marcus on Saturday, February the 11th at noon. In Scottsdale. But there's a catch. It starts at noon. Tickets are $50. However, if y'all want to be on our VIP list, y'all will be sitting front row, and y'all can get there at 11 a.m. And we got some fun stuff planned, Tia, for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So there'll be a curated shopping experience. Yep. Of course, cocktails, things of that nature, and just, a little razzle dazzle for the VIP guests. Yeah,
so we got some Dolce & Gabbana surprises we're going to add in there. We got some fun stuff planned for the VIP. So if y'all want to sit VIP, it is limited quantity. So get the tickets. It's just front row, and that's it, in front of the stage. So the rest of the tickets will be general. So if y'all want to get there early, have food and drinks early, and shop around and enjoy stuff, you'll have that opportunity for VIP, which are $100 for the tickets.
Yes. So make sure you click the Eventbrite link that will be in our show notes. You can also go to Instagram, click the link in our bio, our story, click the link in our story. It's everywhere, right?
It's everywhere.
You will not miss it. But yeah, make sure you come out and join us, y'all. It's going to be dope.
It's going to be so dope. We got some fun guests. We're going to tell y'all about the guests a little later. So we just putting out a little bit of time, but y'all get there. And let's have some fun together. It's going to be a really good time.
Yes.
All right. So, but before we get to Super Bowl, y'all, we got to talk about these playoffs. Wildcard playoffs were bananas.
Listen. Okay. So let's kick it off. Number one, the Seahawks San Francisco game. Look, y'all, I don't want to hear nobody talking no mess, because at the beginning of the season, none of y'all, including me, none of us, even thought that the Seahawks were going to make it to the playoffs, okay?
Shout out to
didn't
Gino.
even think.
Yes.
Look, I didn't even think they were going to finish over 500. So they finished right at 500. And they also made it to the playoffs. So look, they were blown out by the 49ers. But we don't even really care, because we made it, okay? They made it.
Over exceeded, Seattle. Congratulations. And like I said, shout out to Gino, because, he took a lot of heat and he took a lot of negative criticism. And for him to persevere and push through and get that team to the playoffs, that wasn't easy to do with all these people on his head. So
listen, what'd he say?
I'm proud of him. I really am.
Girl, what'd he say? He said, y'all wrote me off, but I ain't right back. Come on, somebody.
Real talk. And my son Nehemiah is a huge Seahawks fan. So when I say he was going crazy, he's been going crazy all season, especially when they made the playoffs. I've never seen him so happy, and he got to see his boy DK Metcalf do what he does. He was gloating. So, and he said the same thing that you said, Tia. He was like, you know what, Mom? I'm sad that it's over so fast, but I'm just happy they made it to the playoffs. He's like, it was a good year for them considering everything. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Now, the rest of these playoff games were a lot more intense, a lot more exciting. Well, let's start with Jacksonville, okay? Jacksonville faced the Chargers, and Jacksonville is another one where nobody really expects them to make it to the playoffs, okay?
Yep.
Nobody expects them to have a great season by any means, but the last couple of weeks, Jacksonville has been showing up and showing out. That was a game. Did you catch it?
What didn't Jacksonville start like 2-7 on the season? Something crazy like that. It was something like crazy, and they turned it around and just like rallied and like had an amazing second half of the. I think that was Jacksonville. I could be lying, y'all, but from what I remember, I feel like Jacksonville, they had a struggle bus of a first half of the season, and to see them turn around, I feel like their season kind of mimicked the playoffs because during the game it didn't start off so well. Let's be clear,
because they came back from a 27-0 deficit.
Yes, they had a goose egg, y'all.
Look, I think right at the end of the first half, they were able to get some points on the board, but they were down a lot. And so for that huge comeback, I think, was that the largest largest comeback in the playoffs?
I'm not sure.
I feel like I heard the sports announcer say it. I said I needed to go and confirm that. But that was a dope game. Shout out to E.T., friend of the show, always supporting,
always.
who is a part of the team himself, okay?
Yes, he is. I think he should be our hype man too, because the way E.T.
look,
he need to just come on and just hype us up right before we start our Super Bowl show.
Get us together. All right, so a few other games that were just as intense. That Dolphins and Bills game. Of course, Bills pulled it out at the end, 34-31. Did you catch that one?
Yeah. So listen, when I say I sat and watched all the games, I'm surrounded by men in my household, so I have no choice. You know, they'll get up and entertain me in between, but we sit and watch all of them. I actually missed part of this game though because my boys had a basketball game, but I caught the rest of my phone, so I was shocked that Miami was this close because I thought the Bills were going to I don't know. I just thought the Bills were going to kill it.
Yeah, especially that's the whole backup situation. You're right. I thought the Bills are going to kill it. I tell you what, it would be dope just considering when I think about the Bills last 12 months or 18 months, when you think about everything that city has experienced, everything that team has experienced, from blizzards to mass shootings to this Damar Hamlin situation, it would be really dope for them to not only make it to the Super Bowl, but to actually pull it out this year. So that is the team I'll be rooting for through all of this.
Yeah. And it was so cute. Damar, he's just cheering them on the whole time. Did you see the situation where he came up to the facility? And
no, I didn't.
He came up to the Bills facility and got to see his whole team and staff and everything. And it was so beautiful. People cried and it was just like a really cool moment. But to see his positivity and just he's walking and it's just like, wow, it's just unbelievable where we were a couple weeks ago to now. And just how much you really realize that even though we think of them as just teammates, anybody that's played sports, like it does become a sisterhood or a brotherhood. I mean, it's truly you fight with these people every day. You're in the locker room, you eat with them, you talk about your families. So this whole situation kind of really brought not just their team together, but not just the NFL world, but everyone together. And so I just really love that about this whole situation. So to your point, Tia, if the Bills go all the way, I ain't gonna be mad.
Listen, that's what I'm
and
cheer for.
Neither will little Nate, because that's little Nate's team. He loves him some Bills. Ever since Stephon Diggs went there, he left Minnesota and went there. He still cheers for Minnesota, but he cheers for Stephon Diggs and the Buffalo Bills because he loves him. He has a picture with him, so it's a special moment for him.
Nice.
Speaking of the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh-wee. Okay.
Golly. It was literally like deja vu for me, at least. So a few weeks back, the Vikings played, who did they play? Oh my gosh, I just lost it. They played it was the Raiders? Was it the Raiders they played? When they were down 33-0? I can't even remember who they played.
Is that the game you went to?
The game I went to, Nate happened to be calling that game. They asked him to come back because that's where he was drafted to and call that game. And we was sitting there. It was myself, my girlfriend Jessa, and my goddaughter, Jaya. So we're watching this game, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on with the Vikings? And she was like, girl, let me tell you something. She's like, you got to bring some medication because it is stressful watching the Vikings. She's like, they'll be killing it one time. Next time, you're like, well, who is this team? It's like bipolar. I don't know what's going on. This is one of those moments. So by halftime, we just like, all right, well, we just going to have a good time. So we was hanging out, laughing, enjoying ourselves. And then the Minnesota Vikings came back and won. So I'm like, won, like 33 down, came back and won. So we were just like, the whole city of Minnesota was going crazy after this because it was a very important game. So I fast forward to this, right? And in my mind, I'm believing like they gonna come back. They've done this before. Come on, Vikings. Y'all got this. Did not happen. And to Jess's point, listen, you got to take something because it be stressing you out, okay? So it was disappointing, of course, to watch the Vikings lose. But listen, you always got to tip your hat to the winner because it ain't easy coming into the playoffs and being the underdog.
It is not.
Okay? Right? And so when you're the underdog and you win, you shush everybody. What was the guy going like this when they won?
Yeah, and especially given that the Vikings had beat the Giants just a couple weeks before by 3. It was a close game, so.
But they still pulled it off, right?
They still pulled it off, yeah. So.
But can we talk about Saquon a little bit real quick? Because I don't think Saquon gets the credit he deserves.
He get the credit he deserves, but that baby,
them legs, balling. Them legs do not stop. I don't know what's in them legs. They are solid. You hear me?
Mini beast mode.
He was running fools over. Grown 300-pound men running them over. Like, it was crazy to watch. But like I said, they were the underdogs. I didn't even think, I was like, I don't know if the Giants got this one. And they proved everybody wrong, boy. They really did.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, though. I don't have faith for the Giants next week, though, because they going into Philly and they playing the Eagles.
Hey,
and one thing's for sure, the Eagles are not BSing this year, okay?
Yes, the Eagles are special. They are a special team to see what they've done this year. They haven't really gotten a ton of love. They've gotten some love because they were talking about, they're undefeated. But it's like people were like watching them being undefeated only to watch them to see if they was going to lose. Kind of like that kind of love. So now that they got that out the way, then it was like, okay, we'll see what they do. And then they had those 3 games. They had 3 different games to clinch, and they kept losing. People like, see. So I feel like the Eagles, they've had a chance to sit back and watch, and they're gonna be hungry. They're gonna come out killing.
Yeah, and the Eagles and Giants are divisional opponents in general, so I know that game is going to be wild. That actually would have been a fun one to go to.
Yeah, there's no love.
The energy in that stadium is going to be out of control.
If y'all know New Yorkers and y'all know Philly fans, there's going to be no love.
Yes, it is. And I guess it's not even last but not least, because just so you know, you guys, we record on Mondays, release on Tuesday. And as of right now, the Cowboys have not faced Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But last night's game, the Ravens versus the Bengals, that ended up being a nice thriller, too, to round out the night. I'm happy Cincinnati pulled that one out.
Me too.
Pull that one out as well. Again, back to this DeMar Hamlin situation. I'm just like,
yes,
look, these people have been through enough. Please don't put them out this first round.
And I'm going to just say this real quick. Jamar Chase, that's my guy. He held me down during fantasy. So, I wanted him to win. He's well-deserved, Jamar. Well-deserved.
Look, I was trying to bring up, because there was a player on the Ravens that, of course, was pissed off and upset with the backup quarterback and the backup quarterback's calls and things of that nature. I was trying to pull his name up, but I don't have it right now. But I don't know if you saw during one of his interviews, he was like, well, we would have won if we would have had Lamar Jackson.
Say it. It's true. But I don't even think he was saying that to slight Lamar. I think...
No, he was saying that to slight the kid.
Yeah.
The backup.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I don't like stuff like that.
I don't like that either. But I think... What's more important and what people are missing here is they should have been paid Lamar. It shouldn't even came down to this. That boy should have been paid and taken care of. But like, he's hurt. And even if your knee's like 60, 70%, it's like, do I go out there and risk it? I still don't have my contract? Probably not. Pay that boy. Pay Lamar. All right, I'm going to leave on that note.
Yeah, but I'm going to say just this whole, you keep in-house business in-house. Now, I know this is an old situation with black families where it's like, the people don't need to know what's going on in my household. I ain't saying that. But when you are a team of 53 plus, the extras, you got front office and the whole nine. If you have an issue, say that in a team meeting or something. Y'all have it out. But don't be putting it out in the media, making the situation worse. I don't like stuff like that.
I feel you on that. And I don't know if he's necessarily trying to slight him because that boy did the best he could do with what he had, okay? It's been a long haul for Baltimore. So the fact that they even are in it, and they're not in it anymore, but the fact they were even in it is what it is. But listen, everybody has to lose sometime.
Somebody got to join the rest of us on the couch. Let's watch this game.
Come on, we got the tailgating chips and dips. You'll be all right.
Girl. All right. Well, hopefully when this episode comes out tomorrow, we will be celebrating the fact that Tom Brady is out of the postseason play and that the Dallas has won this game.
Ooh, so you're going with Dallas.
Girl, listen, let me tell you, truth be told, I like Dallas as a team. I don't like Dallas fans. But when you have Tom Brady on the other side, I always root against Tom Brady. So,
really?
Come on, Dallas.
That's very interesting because I wouldn't mind seeing old Tom get out there now because we already know about young Tom in the playoffs. But y'all got to be honest, this ain't young Tom. So I'm kind of curious to see what an old Tom is going to do. I'm excited about that just to see, like, does he really still have it? What's going to happen with him? So, yeah.
I mean, it ain't, they are not going to get blown out by any means. Tom is going to compete. I ain't going to say that he's not a chump by any means. I'm just cheering against him. Okay. I'm tired of seeing him.
Okay, y'all. That's
Signed
it for
Seahawks
fan. That's it for this week's Hot Takes. Coming up next, our conversation with Sheree Olaiya. On the show today, we have a lawyer and real estate investor. She was born and raised in Amsterdam. She is married to the left tackle for the Denver Broncos, Calvin Anderson. Sheree Olaiya, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Being raised overseas is so fascinating to me. I want to know all about your upbringing in Amsterdam. So I know we could be here all day, but just kind of give us the tidbits of how it was growing up in Amsterdam.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Amsterdam. I have a Dutch mom and a Nigerian dad. So I always had the Nigerian influence and then the European influence. So it's been interesting. Like growing up, I went to like all white schools. I wasn't really around a lot of black people. The only black people that I was around were like my family members, like my dad or my uncle and so on. And then I was always watching like American movies, like black movies and shows and like watching Beyonce, like Destiny's Child on TV. Those were the people that I could sort of like see myself looking the same. Not that I look like Beyonce, but similar skin or whatever. So I was always watching that. And then I started like being interested in just like American culture. And then I did an exchange at Hofstra University in 2012. And that was like kind of eye-opening because I was always in this really white environments. And this was the first time that I felt like beautiful. Because suddenly,
what university was it?
Hofstra University.
Yeah, Hofstra.
In New York.
Where's that at?
It's in Long Island.
It's in New York.
Yeah. So I spent 6 months there. I did an exchange program during college. And then it was really fun. It was really nice. And then I left the US and like I never thought of like moving here. I just enjoyed the experience and took that with me. And then I met my husband. And then I was like, I actually was setting up, I set up a business in Amsterdam, like a real estate business, and it was doing really, really well. And I was like, I'm just going to focus on my business. I'm going to focus on me. And then I met him and I was like, oh, I need to change everything around. And then I moved to the US 4 months ago.
Wait. Let's talk about how y'all met.
I know there was like so many.
You can't hop over that now. We got to talk about how we need to know your love story. How did you guys meet?
Yeah, so it's very long story, but I'll cut it short. So I was going through like a hard time with my family and just a really dark moment in my life, maybe one of the darkest moments in my life. And I literally was like sat down and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I just prayed and I prayed for good things happening. And I was like, why are bad things happening? I just want something good to happen. I want peace. And literally 2 minutes later, he messaged me on Instagram. We didn't follow each other or anything. And he sent me this really, really long message. So not like, hey, baddie or something, but like, hey, long message saying like, this might sound weird, but you're going to play an important role in my life. And it's really important that we meet. And I'm interested in you, not for anything that you could see. I'm interested because God is telling me that I need to talk to you. And it was such a long message. And I looked at his profile and I was like, why would a verified athlete in the US? And he clearly did research and he knew I was in Amsterdam. He still had a few weeks left on his his season. And he was like, after the season, I would love to come to your side of the world. And I was like, so I thought it was a scheme or like a scam. So I thought it's, one of those things where their profiles are hacked and then they try to get money out of people.
Yes.
So I was kind of like, I thought it was a sweet, like really thoughtful message, but I was very, very like suspicious. So I only replied with, haha, sweet, send me your FaceTime. Let's FaceTime. And then he was like, bet, I love the energy, because he thought she's reciprocating my energy. And then
I love that.
I FaceTimed him and he was in the car with his teammate. And I was like, I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And I looked so crappy and and I was really embarrassed actually. But then he messaged me afterwards saying that it was short but powerful. I checked time differences. Would this and this and this time work for you? And then we start FaceTiming every single day, like hours and hours and hours. And we told each other like things we've never told our closest friends, like stuff, like real stuff about a lot of personal matters. And then after 6 months time, we decided to meet up. It was the beginning of COVID, so he couldn't come to Amsterdam. I couldn't come to the US. So we met up in St. Lucia, the island.
Ooh, yes,
I love
St. Lucia.
Yeah,
I'm on first date. Okay, I got a question. So you said you guys were sharing things with each other that you hadn't even shared with your closest friends. What was it about him that made you that comfortable to go that deep with him without meeting him first?
Yeah, I feel like anyone who meets him actually has this effect on a lot of people. I would like to think that I'm like so special, but I feel like he has this effect on a lot of people and I have this effect on a lot of people. But now we came together, and then, because I'm like kind of like a private person, but everyone comes with their issues to me. And then he has the same. So now we were like just having that effect on each other. I think also, he just is a very peaceful person. He's a very thoughtful person. There's like zero judgment when you speak to him. He's very understanding. Yeah, he's very smart and intellectual. So he's like really able to empathize with you. So yeah, and we have a very similar story. Like a lot of things that we went through in our childhood, we both went through. I think that's what like really hit. It was like crazy to have. He was basically me in male version almost. So it was it was crazy. I didn't even know that someone like him existed. I really didn't know. I was shocked. I was literally in shock, and he was in shock too.
Wow.
So that's why we were like, okay, it doesn't matter. There's 16 hours between us, but we're gonna make it work. And that's why when we first met, there was no like, it wasn't like a flirtification. It was not fun and games. It was kind of like, okay, we've met each other now, and after 4 days we discussed how we're going to do our whole life together. So we discussed about like me coming to move to the US for the time that he was playing football, like plans after football potentially, how many children, how we would raise our children, how
this was during the trip to St. Lucia.
You just know when you know, huh?
And then we both called the people that we were speaking to, because I was speaking to like 3 guys at the time.
No options.
And he was, I was keeping my options open. And then he was doing the same. He was like talking to a whole bunch of females. So we both like made calls. Like he had to call his ex-girlfriend as well. Like we made calls to our people in our lives at the moment. It was like, we met the person we're going to spend the rest of our lives with. So this is not going to continue. So yeah, we made those calls as well. Then he called his parents. And he was like, met the girl that I'm gonna be with, and then they came over to St. Lucia to meet me as well because they wanted to meet me.
Really? In the same the same trip?
Our first date.
Look at Sheree, girl. Talk about life flipped upside down in the matter of just
This is
one
literally the first
message.
date. I didn't even tell my dad that I went on this first date because, how are you going to explain to your parents that you're meeting some athlete overseas?
Yeah. Now, did you travel there by yourself, or did a friend go with you? Or
No, I traveled there by myself, and like a lot of people were very skeptical, and they're like, "Oh, send me your location," and like they were doing research on him, and like send me screenshots of you and him talking. Like they were really concerned.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were also discouraging. They were like, "This is such a dumb idea. Like, what do you think is going to come out of it?" And so on. Yeah.
And you were like, no, something deep down inside is telling me to go.
Yeah, I was like, I've never felt this sure about someone. Like I felt really peaceful. Even when I saw him, it wasn't like passion or butterflies. It was more so like coming home, kind of like really peaceful. I was like, hey, and he's like, hey, and it was like I've known him my whole life.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm gonna rewind and go back to your background a little bit, but I was watching something and I heard that you guys secretly married just recently.
Oh yeah, that's true. So
so how did that happen? How recent? And what was that situation?
How did you even I don't know, how did you know that? I'm so surprised.
So my sister was like, I was watching an interview that he did and he let it slip that he secretly got married just here recently. I was like, okay, come on, somebody.
Yeah. I was very surprised that he said that then, because we didn't even tell like a lot of our family members at that point. So
oh really? Wait, do they know now?
I believe so. I'll double check.
Wait, okay.
Oh my gosh, Sheree. This is so fascinating.
This is like a fairy tale.
I feel like you guys, okay, because I love, okay? So I feel like you guys should do a movie because this stuff rarely happens.
Funny that you say that, because there's a producer who reached out to me and she wanted to have a call now, but I told her that I have a podcast. So I'm going to speak to her afterwards about because she had a friend of hers told her about me and him, and she was like, oh, this sounds like a modern day love story, like the way everything went, and also like our backgrounds and stuff. So I don't know, we'll see. I don't know.
I love this. This is like a fairy tale for real. Like just the alignment of timing.
Yeah. It's been so crazy, like literally so crazy. But like how it went with the marriage stuff is that, so he had actually kind of like proposed to me unofficially in Nigeria when we were there. And then he was like, oh, I thought about it and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I knew it from the start. We already spoke about getting married forever. And then I was like, is this a proposal? Like, where's your ring? Why are you not on your knees? Like, what's going
on? Yeah.
But it's okay because like I'm grateful, and everyone's love story is different. So if my love story is maybe not like the proposal, then that's that, because my story is already like mind blowing to me. So then, so he started calling me his fiance and stuff, but it was kind of confusing because every time he called me his fiance, people would look at my hand and didn't see any ring or something. So I was like, you're embarrassing me. Like, stop doing that. Like,
okay, fair.
And that's fair.
Yeah, so then at some point, he flew in all my family and friends, and then he proposed to me during the season, because I was like, there's nothing going to happen during the season because it's the season.
Yeah.
And then like all my friends were being really mean to me that week. I was like trying to reach out. I was having a hard time. He consciously made it hard for me as well because I think he wanted to have like some build up. He was like,
surprise you.
Yeah, he wanted to surprise me. So he was suddenly asking me all these marriage questions and be like, oh, what are you looking for? Like he was kind of like putting a lot of pressure on our relationship. And then I would call my friends to talk about it. And they were like, I'm busy right now. And like, I don't have time for you. And then even my dad was like, oh, I'm going to fly to Dubai. I won't have time. I'm really busy. And I was like, who are you flying to Dubai with? And he's like, that's none of your business. So I felt kind of like really
What's going
sad.
on? My life is crumbling again.
But all my friends and family were so busy because they were trying to fly
Get to
from
the States.
Amsterdam, different parts of the world to the States. And I didn't want to give, because I'm like an investigator. So I would put things together. So they had to go to the extreme for me not to think of anything.
Yeah.
And then they were suddenly here. And then they all surprised me in Vail, like in the mountains. He asked me to come for dinner because I had like a full down breakdown. I cried. I was like I moved. My friends and family are not talking to me anymore. And you're acting crazy. You're all I have. Like, I don't know what's going on. And he's like, let's go for dinner. And then we went for dinner. And then he proposed like just in front of the restaurant. And then all my friends and family were there. So I was like, shocked.
Wow.
So when he proposed, so you guys walked in and they were all there? Or
No,
did they
so
come
he
in?
proposed in front of the restaurant. He randomly he went on his knees, and then I was just shocked because I didn't expect it, because it was also during the season. And then all my friends and family came out of like a local shop around the squarish thing, and then they're like filming me and taking pictures. Yeah.
Were you bawling?
I was actually not. I think I was so much in shock. I was just really shocked.
Okay.
Literally, if you see the video, I was like this.
Okay, now you have to share the video.
I forgot to say yes. And he was like, "Is that a yes?" I was like, I was shocked. I was so much in shock.
Okay,
And then the marriage was like, because it's the season, we really want to do like a big party for our friends and family. He was like, I can't wait to like marry you and stuff. And then we decided to do like a private wedding, just me and him. And then we're still going to do like a big wedding for our friends and family. Next year in like Nigeria or wherever, we'll do like a big wedding. So that's why, it was like really randomly, very spontaneous how we do most of our stuff. We just woke up and it was like, okay. And then I called one of my friends who had like ordained a marriage before. And we quickly flew her in and did it.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. This is like a fairy tale for real.
We did like a little ceremony, just me and him and her in the mountains in the Garden of Guts. So it was beautiful. Yeah.
In the Garden of Guts.
Yeah, now I'm a married woman with a ring.
I know that's right.
Put a ring on it.
know that's right.
Okay, so here's I gotta know time. Okay, so I know your first date was in St. Lucia. You guys flew there, you guys met. Okay, so from that time to the proposal, how long had went by? The proposal in front of your family and friends.
Oh, okay. So the real proposal was in September. So that was like
3 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
That just happened.
And then after that, you guys got married just like recently.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful. It's so rare.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those love stories back in the day. You know how, you like you said, you watch these movies and you're like, oh man, that's beautiful. But that really doesn't ever happen. Like, you have that story. You have to do a movie. You have to.
Yeah. I didn't think I was actually going to get married still. Like I just didn't expect it.
Yeah.
It's really surprising to me. I'm like shocked. And in 2 years' time, my life has changed so much. I literally moved from one side of the world to the other side of the world. I'm married. We have a house together. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you said your dad is Nigerian. How was their like first meeting and stuff? Because they met for the first time in Nigeria.
No, so my dad lives in Amsterdam, but goes back and forward between Amsterdam and Nigeria. So when I initially told my dad about him, because I went on this whole date and then I decided to do my whole life together with him. So after that, I told my dad actually initially I was on holiday with a friend. So when everything worked out the way it was, I wanted to inform my dad as well. So I FaceTimed him and I was like, hey, I didn't tell him I was in St. Lucia because that's like a foreign place. So I told him I was in Ghana because I go to Ghana all the time. So I was like, hey, I'm actually in St. Lucia. I'm so sorry for breaking your trust, but this and this and this is going on. So he was so upset with me. He was like, I don't know you to be a liar. Why would you do this? Like, what is wrong with you? And then when he heard that he was an athlete, he was like, why would you do that? And I didn't raise you to be a woman like this. And then Nigerians are also very cultural. Yeah. And it's against Nigerian culture to have females to be older than males. And I'm like 2.5, 4 years older than Calvin. So
3 years older?
No, 4 years. 4 years. Yeah.
We have I'm 3 years older than my man. This is Cougars Unite Nation. I'm telling you.
I swear, every person we done had on the podcast have been Cougars.
At least, yes, like at least 5 of the women are older than their men. Like Cougars Unite, okay?
She said, "Look, unite."
Yes, but that's not common in Nigerian culture. It's kind of like a thing whereby, like, that's not how it's supposed to be. So he was very skeptical. My dad was so skeptical. And then Calvin was like, I'm going to sort him out. Don't worry. Like, don't worry about it. And then he was like, because he was in season again. He's like, as soon as the season ends. No, it wasn't season. Sorry. It was something. OTAs? I think.
Yeah,
okay.
off-season
workouts. Like June, July.
So he was doing OTAs, and then he was like, as soon as I have a chance, I'll come. And like the first 3 days that he was off, he literally flew to Amsterdam to meet my dad, and then went back.
Wow.
Look, that's important, right? Like your dad plays an important role in your life, so he has to.
Yeah, after my dad met him, he was like, I love him. He's a son, and he understood, and he was like, you have my blessing. And then I feel like Calvin is his favorite child now.
Okay, so now what was your mom's response?
So he wrote my mom, like my mom actually lives in Spain. Like I have a really complicated international family. So my mom lives in Spain, and she couldn't travel or anything, and he didn't have time to go to Spain. And I'm also more close with my dad than with my mom. So but he wrote my mom a very long letter, I would say like 10 pages. And then my mom like called me and she was like, I'm in tears and this is what I always wanted for you. And I'm so happy and I'm so like glad this happened and you deserve this. And like, so my mom loves him. Like she like adores him. Like, yeah, I feel like every one of my family and my friends just love him. Like, I feel like they like him more than they like me.
You know what's so interesting about that? You know, that even though he's 4 years younger than you, he sounds very wise beyond his years. Mm-hmm. Like in the sense of he knows what to do. He knows how to speak to people, how to address people. You know, most guys that age, they don't. So that is definitely a blessing.
Where's he from?
He grew up in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Like, but his origins are like from the Virgin Islands.
Oh, so he's also okay. So mom and dad came from there.
Yeah.
And they relocate. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let's rewind a little bit back to your childhood, because I know you said you were the only person of color in your school. Now, I don't know how privy you are to like race relations in the States and just like how contentious it could be. Did you also experience that in Amsterdam? So
this is going to sound really controversial, but I feel like in Amsterdam there's like structural racism and like a lot of generalizations about Black people or like foreign people. But I feel like in my case, I kind of had like a privilege because I feel like I kind of had like positive racism because I went to law school. And after I finished law school, I applied to like a few law firms, and every law firm I applied to would want to have me. Any scholarship I applied to, I got. So I feel like they needed diversity, and I fitted their kind of like version of what they were like, okay, we can go with her. She's Black, she's female. She kind of like has all these things going on. So I felt like I had positive racism or positive discrimination. Is that a right word to use here? Like I experienced positive discrimination, which is crazy, but I've definitely seen discrimination and racism towards my dad, who's like Nigerian, full Nigerian, speaks with a Nigerian accent, is also very big and masculine. And like, I feel like sometimes when I went to restaurants with him, they would treat him a certain way or act him a certain way. And that's like the most frustrating thing to me. That's why I'm so happy I studied law, because then I would like come back to them with some words, and, like we'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
So was it like when you were younger, did you experience more so like what your dad experiences still? And then as you started to like receive these achievements, like getting your undergraduate, graduate degree, your law degree, things of that nature, you feel like the tides changed? Or?
So I was like in primary school, there's like a test they do at children. And I was like the highest in my school. So the local newspaper came to interview me about my IQ and stuff. So I feel like from a very young age, I was already like seen as the smart girl in like my environment. So I feel like I never really experienced it like that. Or I do remember when I was younger, like really young, people were like kind of like bullying me about like having big lips. They called me Zulu lips. But that didn't last for a long time. Like I almost forgot about it until my school, like a girl I went to primary school with, reminded me about it.
Okay. You kind of like just blocked it out. So I have a question for you in regards to, okay, so you obviously, you tested into probably honors classes. You were in these, classes that were higher than the most the people in your class. When you graduated from high school, did you already know by then like what you wanted to do? Like when you received, did you know what college you were going to? Like how did that come about for you?
So I wanted to be a real estate mogul or investor. But in the Netherlands, it was so here it's like capitalism, right? So there is like different cultures. Socialism, not socialism. It's not a capital market. People are not really thinking about owning real estate or doing stuff like that. So when I came up with the idea of wanting to become a real estate investor, there was not like a clear path, and I also wasn't really familiar with people doing that because not a lot of people owned like several houses. I feel like there was things that I was seeing in the US, but not in the Netherlands. So I told my dad I wanted to be a real estate investor, and then he was like, "No, you're smart. You need to go to law school." And then I wanted to make my family happy, so I went to law school, and I applied to all these law firms, and I actually got my job at my dream law firm. And then I was there, and then I was so unhappy. I literally was like depressed. I didn't like it. And then every time I had a break, I would go to like their department where they had this like magazines, and I would read about real estate. And I didn't really know what route or anything to take, but I was like focused on real estate. And I started following people that were like active in the US or in the UK about real estate. And then at some point I decided to do business because I didn't want to do law anymore. So I went to do a master's in business, and I moved to the United Kingdom. I went to Cambridge University because I heard that it was a good university. I wanted to go to Harvard, but they had like different requirements. And I went to Cambridge University. And then after that, I started working for a real estate investment firm. And that's how I sort of got into real estate. So I worked there for 4 years. And after that, I decided to do everything by myself.
Wow.
Like start your own firm?
Start my own investment fund, I was doing like investments in Amsterdam.
And what were you buying, like commercial properties or multifamily? Like what was your area?
I was doing single family homes and apartments, and I would invest in like kind of like the hood, like kind of the areas that my dad was always like, "You're not allowed to go there." That would be the areas that I would invest in.
Yeah.
And yes, I was doing that, and it was going really well. Like I feel like that was like I was really in my element, and I felt finally like I felt a flow, and I met the right people, and like everything was flowing. So I met like the people that I needed to be in touch with that were like investors that could help me finance my projects, and I had like contractors, and so it was kind of like really fast growing. And then I met Calvin, and then I moved here.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because that's what I was going to ask you. How are you going to juggle, now living in the States and, all of these properties and everything that you've accumulated business-wise in Amsterdam?
Yeah, so it's a juggle because of the time difference. Because like sometimes I have to wake up at 4 or something to like make phone calls. So that's kind of like tiring. But at the same time, so my goal is to now kind of like stabilize everything. Like I'm putting managers to manage things in place. I don't want to sell any of the real estate I have because it gives me a lot of sense of security. Like just knowing that I have like my own income coming in and so on. So I would only do that if I have like a crazy good development that I would want to do here. So my goal is to stabilize everything that I have going on in the Netherlands and Amsterdam, and then also focus on new business here. So I actually went to Detroit because Tia told me that you and her met in Detroit. I actually went to Detroit like a few weeks ago just as like exploring like the city
Looking at
and
properties and stuff.
yeah, because I identified it as maybe an option. Seems to be really lucrative, very high risk, high return. But that's kind of like things that I like to invest in.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting? When Atoya and I were there, like we were there right before the city took off in terms of redevelopment, like redoing the downtown and moving the sports teams into the cities and things. But I was like, that was the prime time for us to be investing in real estate if that was our thing. Like I was still young and, didn't know. But I'm like, now I'm like, shit, we could have had some amazing property, some appreciation and stuff.
Right, Sheree, you didn't tell us.
Yeah, no, I think so many people, and there's literally people in Amsterdam, because I've been obsessed with real estate since I was 15, 16. So I was telling...
Okay, tell me how that came about. Like, how did you get obsessed?
So I read this book from Robert Kiyosaki, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Uh-huh.
And, have you read it?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There he describes about, like, he talks about, like, lawyers and people that have, like, high income earners, which I was very much on the trajectory to go to because I was like doing all this education. And then he spoke about like business people and so on. And then I was like, I want to be a business person. I want to be like, a inside of the lines on the field. I don't want to be like on the sideline, like a ref organizing things.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I really wanted to do something. I don't know. Like I literally came to me. I wanted to do something with real estate, but I just didn't know how. And I didn't know anyone in my environment who was doing real estate. It was just everyone who I was telling about was like very negative about it and so on. They're like, no. And you're not going to able to own several real estate. And actually, when I started off, they didn't even have like the financial products. Like they didn't have like buy-to-let mortgages in the Netherlands.
Okay, I was going to ask you that because, in some countries, you don't like there is no you're going to get a mortgage or anything like that. Like when you obtain a property, you have to pay cash for it outright. So how does it work now in the Netherlands?
So in the Netherlands now, actually, in 2017, they introduced a lot of like buy-to-let mortgages. But I had already started real estate before that time. I literally just started with my first, I bought my first house when I was 23. But just with a normal mortgage, house to live in. And I bought it in kind of like an area that people were like, and then that doubled in price in 2.5 years time. And that kind of like gave me, I bought it for like 150,000, then doubled in price. So then I made like $150,000 or euros, dollars, same profit. And that kind of like gave me like a little bit of a starting point to start into real estate.
Yes.
Time they kind of like were developing different models. So then I put down 2 down payments because houses in Amsterdam are actually really expensive, even like then. And then from there, when I put down those 2 down payments, those houses increased really quickly as well because I bought them in kind of like higher risk areas. And then from there, it sort of took off. And then I was like in the refinance and kind of like when I was like 26 or something, even though I was working in London for the investment fund, I already had like a few properties kind of like giving me similar income as I was making from my job at the time.
Okay, wait, you are so fascinating. We didn't. Okay, go back to the investment fund in London. So you were fascinating. So you were working for an investment company in London?
Yeah, I was working in London for an investment fund. Yeah, it's called Atoya.
Okay, so how did that come about? I am obsessed with London. Like if I could live there right now, I would live there. It's so diverse and like just easy to get there. I don't know. Anyway, but how did that role come about?
Yes, I love London as well. It's like that's definitely a place that I could see myself living again. It's just the environment, beautiful building, architecture. It's really pretty there. So yeah, I definitely share that. It's crazy that the guys are now playing in London, right? Like once a year.
Yeah.
Were they doing that as well when you were
when we were? No. So actually, I'm about to date myself. So I was still in college. They had NFL Europe when I was still. I don't know if you remember. You remember NFL Europe, Toya? So they were playing in Germany and stuff like that. And then it folded. But them traveling over to the U.S. was like, to Germany, the UK was my last couple years. So maybe 2 years? Were they doing that when they was still playing, Toya?
No, so I went, but the reason I went is because Nate was with Good Morning Football. So when we went to London for the game, Nate was 3 years removed from football by that time. So I think the year before, so I think 2015 was when it came back around.
Yeah, so Cliff's like last 3 years or so, they started doing that again, which I think is a dope experience because
so amazing.
They actually like the sport. Okay, sorry, you have this role. How did this role come about?
I was at Cambridge. I was in business school. I was doing a business degree, like a master's. And then I wasn't doing an MBA because I was too young. I didn't have work experience, but I was like doing the master's there.
Okay.
And then, because in Europe, they say if you want to do an MBA, you need to have like 5 years work experience. That's when you most benefit.
Okay.
I think here you can.
Which actually makes more sense. You think if, getting into the executive space or business space in general to get some real world experience and then going to school and figuring out, I think is a better path.
I disagree. I love getting my master's and keeping it moving because and you work at the same time. So I feel like if you can, most people don't want to do it. If you can do it and you have the drive, like think about Sheree. She was like a genius. She could do it. Like she could do it.
Well, clearly there's success in it, but I do like the notion of having to gain experience before doing it because I feel like sometimes they be having us doing shit that, dang on well, I'm not about to do this in the real world. Like, I'm not doing derivatives when I step onto this floor, like this production floor. Why am I doing this? So I think being able to see the bigger picture. Girl, I did. I was like, why am I in this calculus class still? We are not doing this. Okay. I'm not in aerospace. Okay. But anyway.
Like, that's actually me. When I went to Cambridge, because I was so used to like everything being super easy for me. And then in Cambridge, it was like a super intimidating environment because there were like all these really smart people, like people that I feel like were crazy smart, way smarter than I was. And I was in class and I remember being like, didn't understand certain things. And I was like crying and I wanted to, if you would stop within 1 week, they would give you like your money back and all this stuff. And I got a lot of scholarships from like different institutions supporting like Black women and so on. And I didn't want to like fail and then taken their money. So I felt so bad about that. So I went to like the dean's office and was like, I want to drop out. I want to like leave right now. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to make it. And then she was like, no, don't stop. We need you. And then I went into the lift and I was crying and I went out of the lift and there was one girl, a Black girl. And she was like, why are you crying? She was the only other Black girl in this business school at the time. And then I was like, I was in finance class and I have a law background. It's just not me and it's not going to work. And then she's like, they call me Fatim, the finance fairy tale. And then she and I became best friends. Yeah, she and I became best friends and she helped me a lot with finance during that year and I didn't drop out. And I did get my master's from Cambridge. And she now works for the World Bank in DC. So it's like she's the girl that like flew in to marry us.
Listen, I was just about to say, when you're going through these dark times or these rough times in your life, God always placed people in your path to help you through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope you realize that is such a blessing, and I think that's a testament for so many other people to know that in your darkest time and in your roughest time, something beautiful is going to come out of it. And like you're a prime example of that. It's just so it's inspirational for a lot of people that maybe you are having a rough time, but sprinkle, here comes God. Boom.
Yeah, literally.
Wait, tell me her name again. Fatima.
Yeah, so her name is Fatimata. So Fatim, she calls herself the finance fairy tale.
Finance fairy. Listen, confidence.
Come on, finance fairy.
You should speak to her as well. She's like doing crazy things with the World Bank, and she's doing
send us her contact information. We would love to have her on because it's not just spouses of players by any means. Like we like talking to dope women.
We empower and we put all women on.
She definitely is that. Like she was the youngest in her role when she started, and she's doing really well. She just won a prize like within the institution, 30 under 30, like 30 successful.
Under 30.
Like she made the Forbes 30 under 30?
No, 30 most successful people within like the IMF and the World Bank, something like that.
Oh,
like, she's doing really well. But yeah, she helped me through Cambridge. And so when I was in Cambridge, a lot of like companies came to Cambridge to recruit us, but it were like a lot of consulting companies, a lot of banks, a lot of those kind of like bigger companies. And it wasn't what I wanted to do because I wanted to be a real estate mogul. So I really was frustrated and stuff. I didn't really know what to do. And then this company came across and it was an investment fund. And they were recruiting someone to be a lettings manager. So like way below my qualifications at the time. But then the recruiter was like, yeah, you can become a lettings manager, and then they'll recognize you and they'll promote you in no time, and you'll be an acquisitions manager. And I believed it.
Like business acquisitions?
Yeah, like doing all the buying for the funds and stuff. I believed it, but it didn't happen. So I really worked so hard for like 2 years in the lettings role, and nothing came up, and I was so frustrated about it. And then I literally went to my manager at the time, and I was like, I need to be an acquisitions manager. I can't be a lettings manager. Like, I'm just opening doors for people the whole time.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the role actually came up a few months after that, and then like a lot of people applied, but I think because I've been like pushing so much for it, they gave me the role. So then I became an acquisitions manager for like 2 years. So I total of 4 years. I became acquisitions manager for 2 years. So I spent 2 years longer there as an acquisitions manager, buying like bigger developments for the funds. Like we would do maybe like developments starting 5 million upwards. We would buy them, and I would be like doing all the relationships with the owners or the institutions that owned the buildings, making sure that it would offer the buildings to us before to any other fund, building those relationships and calculating everything, and then presenting it to the boards, say like, hey, we should buy this building and this and this and this, and these are the numbers. So I did that for 2 years.
So it sounds like finance became your favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love it.
It's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Yes. You are so fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like it's very.
Yeah.
It's because for you to be so young and have like all this experience and just into things that most people don't even figure out until probably their
late 30s, early
40s. For you to understand it so young it's actually very, very fascinating.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to transition a little bit. So the theme for our season, the thing for the show in general is the playbook. Like we share tips and tools to help women in different walks of life, whether it's motherhood, marriage, career, etc. Right? So, which I think you answered this a little bit, but when you think about where you were when you were 21, 22, or even like post high school, when you think about, okay, when I grow up, I'm going to do this. Do you feel like, what was that this? And do you feel like you were doing that?
Yeah. Yes, I wanted to be a real estate investor, and I definitely feel like I'm doing that. Yeah, I also wanted to be a wife. Like deep down, I wanted to be a wife, and I'm doing that. So it's crazy because I have like this file on my computer, and I write down everything I want. Like I just write down as if it's a roman or a book or something. And when you do that, a lot of it actually comes true. Like I wrote it now for 2023, and I showed Calvin, and he was like, "This is all going to happen." You know that, right?
Manifestation.
So. Yeah, I do think that if you have something that you want to do and you really put your mind to it, like I think you'll have like a 80% success rate or something. I really do believe that. So I wanted to be a real estate investor and a wife, and and I also want to be a mom. So we're still working on that.
Still working on that.
Okay, so when you went through the tough times in your life, when life made you pivot, and there was these tough times that you didn't know if you were going to get through, how did you respond during that time?
Yeah, so I really believe in manifestation and like positive thoughts, and I really believe that our words become our reality. So even like in dark times and stuff, that's one of the things that I struggle with, because I find it difficult sometimes in dark times to express like the pain or whatever, because you want to focus on the positive. So there's almost no space for the pain or struggles, or because you're always like positive. But I think what I do is like I write down the positive, write down the best possible outcome. I focus on the positive. I pray. I manifest, which is the same for me. So yeah, just focus. Just believe that there's always going to be like the future is brighter than our own plans, and just always believe that. And it actually happened to be the case.
That's right.
That's beautiful. And I'll be honest, I'm like, and what Atoya know, I'm like, I'm trying to identify the positive and like focus on the positive for this chapter right now. But that's difficult, right? Like it's difficult to remain positive during those tough times.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the only way to go through them. Like you just have to be positive.
Yeah.
You have unwavering belief.
Yeah, it gives you those gems of hope along the way that you kind of got to keep grasping at.
The other side is you being negative or focusing on negative or just believing whatever is going through is going to continue, and that's not going to help at all. So even if it's strong, even if it means like you have to switch on and be like, okay, I'm now just like, even when you feel awful, just
like fake it till you make it.
Just fake it till you make it. Yeah. Fake it till you make it. Because I feel like that's the only way to go through things. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna play a game. It's called the 2-minute drill. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask you a question. It's gonna be this or that, where you choose one or the other, or it's gonna be a fill in the blank where you just answer the question.
Okay.
All right.
If it's a lot of American culture stuff, I don't know.
It's easy. I promise you'll be able to do it. You'll be like, oh, that's it. This will be fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Trust me. Okay. 2 minutes starts now. Okay. American football or football?
Or soccer?
Yes.
Soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who has better food, the U.S. or Amsterdam?
U.S. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite TV show?
Ooh, I don't watch TV. I don't watch.
You don't, what do you do? Like Netflix and stuff?
Hardly never. Yeah, hardly never.
Okay, that is fine. That's okay. All right, here's the next question. So this is what I heard. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, the gray area coffee spot in Amsterdam or Starbucks?
Starbucks. Yeah. Starbucks.
Really?
Starbucks. You're like, how do you know that? Did a little research.
How do you know that?
Okay. I haven't. Have you done Amsterdam, Toya?
I've been in Amsterdam, but only for a layover. I have not really walked through.
Spending time, same.
Yeah, my brother played overseas.
You guys need to do that.
And so I went to visit him.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna go. We're gonna hit you up. We're gonna let you know.
We got to come when you there.
Because we need you to just take us on a tour.
Yes. Yes.
Really love that. Yeah.
Okay, so New Year resolutions, yay or nay?
I'm doing them now. Like I'm wrapping everything up for the new year and then starting off fresh. But yes. Yeah, also New Year's resolutions.
Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Okay, tell me your pet peeve. What's something that drives you crazy?
Okay. Yeah. So racism drives me crazy. And like, I hate injustice. Like that's why it throws me. Like I have to fight for it and stuff. I hate injustice or like people being mean to people that are weaker or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Amen to that.
Okay. Amsterdam or Nigeria?
Nigeria.
I love how she answers. Okay. What's more important to you, to work out more or to eat more healthy?
Eat more healthy, yeah. 80% eating, 20% working out.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite overseas hotel?
Hotel 27, which is my uncle's hotel, which is on the Dam Square of Amsterdam.
Hotel 27. Let me write that down right now.
It's actually like won the prizes for the most beautiful hotel in Amsterdam.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
It's on the Dam Square next to the Palace of the Queen.
Okay, you said it's Hotel 27?
Yeah, Hotel 27, and it's number 27 Dam Square. Yeah.
Okay, bet.
What is something people may not know about Sheree?
Okay, I feel like people don't know like about my nerdy sides, like that I love to read and learn and so on, because I don't always tell people about that or feel comfortable. Like I'm working on it, but previously I wasn't really comfortable in showing that side of me to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's listen, if you don't watch TV, you have to read. It's one or the other, right?
It's like you got to do something.
I don't watch a lot of TV either, so I feel you on that. But yes, reading is fundamental. It's a good thing. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. So
absolutely. And what is next for you?
Okay, so what is next? So we're wrapping up the season. It's a really exciting time for us because Calvin is hitting free agency. So we have no clue where we will be next year. We could be in Seattle or in New Jersey with the Jets, or who knows? Like, we really don't know. So I think it's interesting to learn in the next few months where we'll be like based. In the meantime, like, I'm like excited to like do our new house and so on, and then I'll also get my license wherever we're based next. And then we're also looking to do like more real estate. So kind of what I was doing in Amsterdam, investing in real estate, I'm going to start doing here as well, beginning of the year.
That is fantastic.
Awesome. Absolutely.
And if people want to get a hold of you, Sheree, because I know they will, because you are so fascinating, and they probably want to learn all about what you do and how you do it so that they can possibly do it. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, just message me on Instagram or email me, or like, I'm always happy to help people or advise them, or if you just want to brainstorm, like, I'm really all for it. Yeah.
And what's your IG handle?
Sheree Olaiya. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll be sure to put links in our show notes.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. You were so fun. We had a great time with you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
That was such a fun and fascinating conversation. I love the fact that she just has this brain that's just so smart beyond her years. But she had this knack for love that she found like so quickly and so young. So I think that is just so cool.
Yeah, she is living like a true fairy tale, right? And you can tell like she's glowing, she's happy, and she's confident in like decisions that she made, and it's been working out.
That's right.
I do wish we had asked her about her experience with Denver, because football is that's not something that's common in the Netherlands, right?
That's so true. And I just hope that she does this movie. I think that if she does a movie, listen, I love a love story. I'll be there crying, tears and all, girl. I'm a big sap.
Listen, we got to have her back on because there were so many layers that we didn't even get to tap on with her. But
agreed. Yes. All right, y'all. That's our show. For the latest on the Inside Lines podcast, make sure to follow us on both Instagram and Facebook at Inside Lines Podcast.
And be sure to check out our website at insidelinespodcast.com. And we have YouTube, y'all. Make sure y'all are watching us as well. Our YouTube handle is Inside Lines Podcast.
Until next time, leave it all out on the field. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.